Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Oh my god. But before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Sunchild Kapımı episodes, say what I liked, what I didn't like, what I think might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, like, comment, share, but most importantly subscribe so we can meet on a weekly basis. As always, before we get into the Eda and Serkan storyline, let's talk a little bit about the others. First we have Erdem, who confronts Fifi about her no-show to their date, and he tells her that he only added a beard to his pictures, but the rest was him and her getting angry at him why he copied her hobbies, kind of. And then when they were at brunch and Serkan was kind of introducing each and every one of them, so when Serkan said Erdem, he was like, let's see what he has to say about me. And then Engin chimed in. I felt so bad for him. Then we have Engin and Pugul. Engin finally came back from Qatar, brought Pugul a teddy bear. I laughed so much because he was so excited. Oh my god, look what I got you. And she was okay, and even analyzing it with Celine, it was so funny. And then him telling her, don't do anything tonight because I have something prepared for you, and then she's all dressed up nicely and thinks, oh, he's going to take me for dinner. And then they stop at a bowling alley because he wants to show off Pugul to his friends. At first Pugul was like, are you stupid? Look how I'm dressed. I'm so overdressed for this, blah blah blah. And then when she's about to go, he's like, please don't go because I just want to show you off. And then kind of confesses it that he's been in love with her for so many years and they know about it, and now that they're kind of together, I believe, he finally can show her off. So that kind of softens her up and they go bowling. And then when they go to brunch, Engin has the same clothes on and Pugul is keeping her distance, being like, don't let them know, just don't touch me, don't be so close, blah blah blah. But Engin really wants to be close to her because finally he has her. And then Serkan kind of asking Engin, didn't you wear these clothes yesterday? And he was like, yeah. Can I wear clothes 2 days in a row? And Serkan is like, you smell like a female perfume, a perfume that I kind of know. And Engin was like, okay, I'm done, bye, and just walks off. I thought it was hilarious. So I think we can kind of say that now Engin and Pugul are a couple. Then we have Celine and Ferit. Celine not liking Ferit being at the holding or also in art life, so for her to constantly see him, she even proposes to him to split the week up, like 3 days he's in, 3 days she's in, so they don't have to see each other. And he's like, no, blah blah blah. And then he makes a quite interesting statement, and I'm like, yeah, he's right, because he says, would you have reacted the same way if Serkan would have chosen you? Because now she's frustrated because Ferit left her. Serkan is nowhere around her because he's with Eda, so she's kind of alone. And I think he has seen that, and that statement for me was like, you're right, because if she would have been with Serkan right now, she wouldn't mind Ferit being at the holding because she has Serkan. So for him to tell her that, she gets so frustrated and just storms off. And then she's so down because she cuts up all the pictures of him and her, but leaves the ones with Serkan to the side. And when Eda visits her to kind of convince her to also go to that brunch, she sees those pictures and is like, are you for real, and walks off. And Celine also cuts up her wedding dress. So in the past she really was focused on Eda, but now because Ceren is getting closer to Ferit, she has a new target, so to kind of focus on Ceren and try to keep her away from Ferit because she doesn't like to see him close to her. And Ceren, on the other hand, she's kind of standoffish towards Ferit, and Ferit hired her as a lawyer for the holding, and she gets so angry at him because she's like, oh, you're using me just for my name, blah blah blah, you should know it because you're the heir to that hotel chain or whatever he has. So he's like, that's not what I meant, but okay, and just walks off. And at brunch she apologizes because she's seen the mistake she made. They kind of make up, so I don't know. At first I was like, I don't think that they will get together, but it seems logical because both of them are heirs. So her for the law firm, him for the hotels he has. So they're kind of in the same boat. They know the same problems and weights they have to carry of their name, of their family brand. So it kind of would make sense for them to get closer. I think at first they will be quite good friends, but then it will evolve into something more. But before they have this fight, he calls her because he's so overwhelmed by this whole Celine situation, and calls her because he needs to talk to somebody, and she goes off on him because she's like, I don't want to be the shoulder that every man I know cries on, i.e. Engin about Pırıl, now Ferit about Celine. And he's like, okay. I think for her to mark her territory and say where she stands at, I think it wasn't a bad decision to tell him that she doesn't want to be a shoulder to cry on. She wants to be something more, kind of a friend, a real person, not just to be the one you call whenever you need her and you just need to talk about somebody else or your problems, if you know what I mean. Then we have Aydan and Alptekin. They are really concerned about Serkan and his reactions, but in their little storyline they kind of get closer together by cooking and by spending time with each other. But there was a moment when Alptekin was really scared to lose Serkan once again, so for Serkan to be distant from him. Is there anything else we can say? Aydan kind of sending Seyfi to Eda''s house to check around if Serkan told Eda the truth. Seyfi sees that everything is alright and even says that Eda is really in love with Serkan, because quite at the beginning of the episode we see Eda looking at the old picture, like really destroyed picture of Serkan, and switches it up with a new one where she draws a heart on. But anyways, I think I've mentioned everything. Oh, and what I didn't quite understand was Melek said that she is jobless, but then she shows up at the brunch. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. I didn't quite get that. But I think we can move on to the Eda and Serkan storyline. So we directly continue where we left off. Serkan pacing up and down, being really shocked by the news that he heard. Also wants to find a solution because he doesn't want to keep this secret from Eda, but at the same time he wants to protect her. So he's really desperate to know all the details, and even demands for Aydan and Alptekin to tell him where this holding is. He wants to see all the documents, blah blah blah. But then when he reads everything, he's like, this doesn't concern me. I'm not the one that was in charge of it. It doesn't concern Eda. So in that moment he doesn't understand why does he have to suffer and carry that burden of his father's mistakes he made in the past. I felt really sorry for him, but then Ayda also tells him, as a family you carry the burden together. And then she tells him something about her first love, that she wanted to marry a guy who worked for her family kind of, and the guy's mother was not a butler but a lady that worked for her family. And when they wanted to tell their families that they want to get married, he just disappeared. No note, no nothing. And the reason for it being that his mother stole things from Aydan's mother, and he didn't want to build this relationship on lies. Or am I mixing things up? I'm really sorry. But the thing is, every time she looks at horses she's reminded of him. So I don't think that this story was so pointless. I do think that maybe in the future we will get to know this guy. Maybe he will appear. Then we have this whole shopping mall scene where Eda goes shopping with the girls. She wants to buy something for Serkan. Now I didn't quite get it. Was it their not really anniversary, but kind of something they celebrated? It wasn't Serkan's birthday, it isn't Eda's birthday, so why did they buy a present for each other? I don't know, or it just slips my mind. I don't know, I'm really sorry. But she wanted to buy something for him, and he actually called her what she's doing. She told him she's at the mall. Then he goes after her. He kind of follows her, and he sees her looking at a blue dress, but in the end not buying it, so he buys it for her. So this is his present for her. And her, on the other hand, she's buying, as we saw in the trailer, a robot, and she calls it Robobolat, and she's so excited. Like in those scenes, she was so excited like a little child in a sweet shop, and then they sit by those fountains and you can really see him kind of contemplating, should I tell her, shouldn't I tell her, because you can really see that pressure on him and this sadness in his eyes, looking at her enjoying life, being so excited about everything, and him having this burden of knowing that secret that his father was kind of responsible for her parents' death. And then Layla calls Eda because Serkan turned his phone off so nobody could reach him, and she tells him there's a crisis at the company, we should get going. While Serkan and Eda are at the shopping center, there's this huge meeting about the merger, I think the holding and art life. Serkan is nowhere to be found, but Ferit and Efe are there. Ferit kind of offers to go to that meeting with Celine. She's like, no, it doesn't concern you, blah blah blah. But then Efe chimes in that he's a partner now, so he offers her help and she accepts it. One thing that I have noticed is, thank God Efe cut his hair, and his explanation was like, he wanted a change. I think more so the fans wanted your hair to change because it looked so rubbish before and he looks way better now. This is the Ali I know. I think his name is Ali in real life, but that's the actor that I know, looking amazing with short hair. When Serkan comes, he sees Efe in that meeting. He doesn't like what he sees. He tells Celine, if I'm not here, the meeting gets cancelled. Celine wants to tell him about the meeting. He's like, no, you're not going to tell me about it. Efe will tell me about it. Then Efe kind of holds this presentation about the meeting. Serkan is quite impressed and even tells him that people would love to work with Efe, and Efe is like, well, I want our talents to be together, kind of telling Serkan that he's intelligent, talented, hardworking or something else, and he's the same and he wants them to work together and also wants to be his friend. But Serkan is like, no, I only have 3 friends in my life, and that's Pırıl, Engin and Sirius. Efe is also telling Serkan that he has no bad intentions and he just wants to be friendly with Serkan and for Serkan not to be so apprehensive towards Efe. And that's when Serkan tells him about his 3 friends, I believe. Then Serkan goes from the meeting to his office, sees Eda outside on the terrace planting some seeds, and he asks her what's that about. She tells him that she collected those seeds with her mother, and her mother told her to plant those seeds wherever she's happy. So she planted one in her home and one at the flower shop and now one on this terrace because that's where everything happened with Serkan and she's really happy here, blah blah blah. Then Serkan asks her if it's hard for her to let go of the past, and she's like, sadness, anger and pain are feelings that are hard to forget. And he's like, okay, I get the sadness and the pain because of your parents, but where does the anger come from? And then she kind of tells him the story that her grandmother, so the old lady, she didn't like Eda's mother as a bride for her son. So her mother was never accepted by the old lady. Her father put everything behind him, his family, his wealth, because he was so in love with Eda's mother. After the accident, the old lady wanted to take Eda with her, but Ayfer didn't let her, and also changed her name from Yıldırım to Yıldız. And then he asks her, didn't you think about ever forgiving your grandmother? And she's like, no, because she interfered with fate or something like that. Then we have this kind of lunch date between Ferit and Efe, where Efe kind of asks Ferit if Serkan has always been that way or is it just towards him, and Ferit says no, he's kind of both, he's towards everybody like this. And Ferit tells Efe that Serkan likes to be the one with control and to be the most powerful one, and if it's like, well, I'm the same, I also want to have the power, so now to kind of prove myself to Serkan, I have to be more powerful than him. And then kind of offers to Ferit that he will buy his 5% shares in the holding. So Efe is kind of trying to have more shares than Serkan has in order to be more powerful. Then we have this kind of heart to heart between Engin and Serkan, because Engin kind of notices that that Serkan is kind of down, really lost in his thoughts, not the old self, and tries to give him some advice, and Serkan is like, okay, I will tell you later. And then in the end he tells him the whole story, and Engin is like, well, that's a hard thing, you should really tell Ada about this because you deserve each other, and Ada also deserves to know the truth. Then we also have this little scene between Ada and Ayfer looking at Ada's baby clothes, and Ada telling Ayfer that she should give Serkan a chance to prove himself, and Aydan is like, well, I don't trust him really, I trust you, blah blah blah. Then we have this whole Ada and Serkan being at the cinema, her kind of finding out that Serkan has never been to the cinema, and then Serkan kind of buys out the whole like theater, not the whole cinema but this whole room, so they're alone because he doesn't like crowds. And then she kind of leans on him, and it was so adorable them being together. It was like, oh my god, like why do you have to destroy this amazing chemistry and this amazing moments between them? But after the movie, Serkan tells Ada that he kind of wants to ease Ada's past memories, kind of make them go away, blah blah blah. And then she's like, no, everything happens for a reason, and I'm really interested to see what lesson you will be in my life, because whatever happens to you, you kind of learn from it. That night we have that scene where Serkan gets really frustrated, punches the table, and where he gets his cuts from, and that's also when Aydan tells him about her first love. Then we have this whole brunch thing happening. When Ada and Serkan arrive, they're the power couple 100%. They looked so amazing. But anyways, back to the brunch. I thought it was really hilarious when Efe kind of gave, when Serkan got his food, it was all healthy, and Ada got stuff that she likes, and Efe got the same thing, and Serkan didn't quite like the similarities between Efe and Ada. I thought it was hilarious. And then they also talk about this ecological hotel, and Efe offers his help. Serkan is like, no, this is a project that belongs to Art Life, that belongs to Ada, blah blah blah, it has nothing to do with you or the holding. And everybody is like, well, if he's the best, like he should be able to help Ada. And Serkan is like, then let Ada decide, blah blah blah. And she kind of accepts it, and Serkan is like, okay, let's hear your ideas for the hotel. And if it changes everything, and Serkan doesn't like that at all, and is like, no, this is my project, I won't allow it, blah blah blah. And if it's like, what? Even everybody else is so frustrated with Serkan because he wouldn't let the master in this field help Ada make it even better. And then Serkan just storms off. Ada goes after him. She's like, what the hell just happened? Oh, before that, sorry. Ada sees that Ceren is quite close to Ferit and sees Celine's reactions. They go to the toilet. Melek also joins them. They talk about Ferit. Ceren admits that she thinks that Ferit is kind of cute, but they're just friends. And the bad thing is Celine actually listened to it. So that's when she kind of focused on Ceren and is like, she's my next target. Back to Ada and Serkan. They have this whole fight in front of this whole location. And then he goes off on her like, how can you be so positive and so nice to everybody, blah blah blah. Then her being like, well, then find somebody who suits you. And he's like, okay, if you say so. The best thing for me is to be lonely. Like, oh my god, Serkan, are you serious? But then we have this whole montage where Ada is thinking about the good times with Serkan, and Serkan, he changed his clothes, which I didn't quite get why, but he had other clothes on than he had at brunch, and he's in his office thinking about the times he had with Ada. And then Engin comes and they talk about it, and Engin telling him that he should tell Ada the whole truth, and Serkan is like, I know. Then we see Serkan going to Ada's place with a pot of flowers. I don't know what flowers there were, but a bush of flowers, and he listens to Ada and Ceren's conversation. Ceren asking Ada if she ever thought of forgiving her grandmother, and that's when Ada says no, she will never forgive those people that are responsible for her parents not being by her side. So Serkan feels really bad because he knows he's also responsible for it, so she won't ever forgive him or his father for the mistake his father made in the past. Then we see Ada walking out somebody a car waiting for her. There's a chauffeur and he gives her a card that reads, "I'm waiting for you where everything started." And then you can really see Serkan being really emotional, trying to act tough, and she asks, "Are you ready to talk?" "Yes, I am." And then he tells her that there's something he wanted to tell her for a couple of days now. And then he says, "I want to end the relationship that started here with the contract. I want it to end it here as well." And I was like, "Oh my God, are you serious? You can't just do that." And with every sentence he said, you could really see him shooting kind of, what's it called, arrows or bullets, whatever you want, through Eda's heart with every single word, with every sentence. And I mean, some parts came back to him because you could really see him suffering as well. But what he said was that it doesn't work and he's not a person to joke around, because Eda was at first like, "You're kidding, right?" And he's like, "No, I'm not a person that jokes around about those things," and that his work and career are the most important things to him. And then him continuing saying, "If I continue this relationship, I will lose everything, blah blah blah." I'm like, oh my God, really? And Eda gets more and more frustrated and angry at him, her telling him that she trusted him, and a couple of days ago he told her that he was madly in love with her. Like, what the hell just happened? And he's like, "You were right all along, you said it from the beginning, I'm an insensitive robot." And then she's like, "Look me in the eyes and tell me it's over." And then he's not even blinking and he tells her, "Bitte." And I'm like, ooh, why? And he's not even blinking. And I was like, "Serkan, this is the wrong move. The wrong move." And she's like, "Okay, if you want that." So I'm going to end it as well as how I started it. "I hate you, Serkan Bolat." And that's the end. Oh no! And thank God we got a trailer. So that trailer all kind of plays out right after that face-off they had. So it seems to me that he drives home, she kind of goes after him, she tells him that she can live her life like she did before him, but she knows that he can't live his life like he did before, because nothing can replace her in his life. And then she walks off, and then she kind of meets up with Aydan, and she kind of asks Aydan, "Well, when will this pain go away? Because I really do hope that it will go away fast." And Aydan is like, "Take some time, blah blah blah." But you can really see Aydan as well kind of suffering, seeing Eda like this, and maybe also Serkan. And then we see Engin with Serkan, and Serkan telling Engin that he couldn't tell her the truth and he would prefer for her to hate him because he broke up with her than for her to know the truth. So I don't know what to predict for next episode. I do think that we will get to see the old lady maybe by episode 18. I think that more has to happen, and I don't know if I incorporated it in my last couple of previews, but in general, when you're watching Turkish TV series, when you have this most romantic episodes, loving life, kissing, amazing scenes, you should know that it will go down really fast and the drama will begin. So we will have both of them suffering. Maybe Eda, because she's stronger, she's a very strong woman, she won't let it show that much, but Serkan will suffer a lot. So I don't know, will he get sick once again? I'm interested to see that, because if not, then it wouldn't quite make sense. Why would he get sick back then and not now? Ooh, I do think that now with this separation, I do think that Efe will make a move and Eda will get closer to Efe, and Serkan can't really do anything about it because they're broken up, so she's not his girlfriend anymore. She will change the picture in her room, I think. And what else? Maybe we will see Ceren and Ferit getting closer, working closer together. And I think that's all I can say. So yeah, I hope I said everything. I hope I didn't forget anything. If I did, I'm really sorry. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this amazing episode. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time.